So it's the end of February and spring is so close, you can almost taste it. But today we're going to be working on this Japanese maple tree that you may have seen me working on in the past. And today is all about root work and getting it into a bonsai training pot like this one. But first we need to drill some extra holes for drainage. I've had problems with these pots before and they clog up easy. But with some extra holes it should do the job absolutely perfect. Now we just need to remove the tie wires that are holding this tree into this overly large pot. And the root ball is huge and it's heavy. And the soil, despite not being changed for a while, is in good nick, and we can't be using these root hooks. We need something a little bit more powerful. And as you can see, it's doing the job nicely, and the soil is just falling out very easily. And because the soil is still in such a good condition, I'm going to be saving as much of it as possible. And with a little look, I can see that this root ball is full of lovely fine fibrous roots, perfect for a bonsai tree. And we must remember to not leave the old wire in. It won't actually cause any real problems, but it's just nice to get it out of there. So I'm just going to speed up this footage for a minute. I was absolutely taking my time doing this. The whole process of today's video must have taken me a good 2 hours. But I'm going to try and show it to you all in around 15-20 minutes. As it is an important procedure to learn when reducing the root mass of this caliber into a smaller container. Now, if you're wondering what type of Japanese maple tree this is, I believe it's the Ukon or Ukon, a variety, and it has a lovely orangey yellow leaves in the spring, then turn into a bright fluorescent green during the summer, back to a lovely shade of yellow for the autumn. And the tree itself won't start pushing till the end of March. And it's hard to believe that this tree was still in leaf just over 2 months ago, so it holds onto its leaves for quite a while. So a quick spin around, and as you can see, we've nearly got the outer layer of the soil out. I do believe that we are going to have to hose this down just to get a better look, but we are almost there. And let's not forget the mesh tape. The amount of trees I have repotted from other people, and they still have old mesh tape in there. So a lot of people will just gently comb this out, but I have found if you can dig the hook in just a little bit and give it a little shape, if the soil's good, it will simply fall out. But right here we have found some hard soil. It's not the bonsai soil in the middle that I prefer to use. If anything, it's just probably regular potting soil. And we're going to have to work that out off here too. But we're going to have a hose down. And as you can see, the amount of fibrous roots we have to play with. And there's bits on the main trunk line that is not agreeing with me. And eventually we'll have to go. And the trunk line actually goes down further. So in future, I have a big job to do. And is to make the roots that I'm going to choose to sit more flush on the top of the soil line. But let's see how it fits into the training pot. And as you can see, we have a lot of root to cut back. And I haven't done this type of root job on this tree for probably a good 3-4 years. And if I wanted to, I could just use the pot as an outline to cut these roots and then just fill up with soil. But we're not going to do that today. Now we are going to have a bit of a cleanup at the top. Now if you recognise this brush, especially you Jonas, you probably do, yeah, mentioning you, it is actually a motorbike chain cleaner. It's never been used, but it does the job absolutely perfect of cleaning away debris and moss from the bark. So now we get to one of the main events of today's video, and it's to begin working on these beautiful fibrous roots. And it's more of a reduction than anything, but caution is still needed. Now this really is like giving a haircut, especially when you got this amount of roots to play with. And all we're really going to be doing now is working our way around, reducing further into the root ball. And I am pretty positive in thinking that these fibrous roots go all the way to the trunk line. So there shouldn't be any worries of losing anything of great importance. And here I've found an egg of some type. I'm kind of thinking maybe a snail egg, or normally you find them. It's definitely not some type of feed that I introduced into the pot, as I didn't add any of it last time I'd done this work. But it's also something quite common to find into your soil, especially if you haven't messed around with the roots for a while. Bugs and critters are going to be laying stuff. Now, as the outer roots have been dealt with, I have found a piece at the top here that I don't really want growing from the trunk line, and if anything, it's just going to make it look more unsightly if it's not dealt with now. And now we're just looking for more pieces before we start at the bottom, and as you can see, there's still a fair bit to come away. But I'm not going to cut that away. Today I'm going to be using my trusty saw that is nice and blunt, but still sharp enough for root work. And now if you're new to this, you're probably thinking, that's a fair bit of roots coming away. Is the tree going to be okay? And I always tell people, it's more of a case of revitalizing the root system. As long as I don't take everything away from this Japanese maple, the tree is going to be absolutely fine. And I could probably near enough bare root it completely, removing most of it if I really wanted to. And there's still a chance that the tree will survive when it starts pushing. But to increase the chances of it surviving, we're going to leave enough for it to go into the growing season nice and healthy. And that was a worm you just see me dig out there. It's a good sign for nice healthy soil medium. I would say if you get more than 3 of them, then it may be a sign that the soil is staying wet for too long. Now the bottom is near enough done. We are going to be working on the top just a little bit, removing some things that I don't want. And I won't be applying any cut paste as such, as it's part of the root system. It will heal up nice and quickly. So we've just had another hose down to see what we're left with, and as you can see we've got a lovely fibrous root system, and we are going to have to eventually deal with this bottom part of the root mass where it's just a large clump, but that will be a future problem to deal with. But right now I am starting to like the look of this tree's root system, and in time it's going to be looking absolutely spectacular. And I was going to do some root grafting, but I feel that is going to have to wait. So right now we're just going to tidy up these cuts I made. These concave cutters have gone a bit blunt. I definitely won't be using them again after this, and that is looking absolutely beautiful, but just a couple of more little snips to go. And just a quick finger check to see if we can put some fresh medium in there, and it looks good to go. So let's see how it's looking into the training pot now, and that is fitting a lot more better. Now over the last few days I've been making a few of these potting hole meshes. It just saves time, and it's nice to have a bundle of them just to be able to place into any bonsai pot that I wish to use. Now it's just placing in the tie down wires. We're using 2 to 3 millimeter thick, and we're just going to build a mound of soil as well as using 0 nitrogen feed to aid in root recovery. And as we push the tree down, we want to be twisting it a little bit just to feed the soil into the bottom of the root mass. So now it's time to tighten the tree into the pot with the wires that we've put in. And what I generally do is give a little twist first, and then as we get the pliers, what we're going to do is pull the wire upwards and twist just to get a nice tight hold onto the tree, making sure it doesn't wobble into the pot. Now what we're going to do is overload the top with more soil, and then we're going to use a chopstick of sorts and our fingers to feed the soil into the air pockets that we have created from removing the old soil. And as you can see here, there is a massive air pocket there, and we're just going to be gently feeding the soil into there, and we can either use the chopstick or our fingers. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. As you can see here, I'm doing a combination of the two, and we're going to keep doing this everywhere we find one until we feel the soil move no longer. But also keeping in mind to not over compact the soil at the same time. So now we've got all the soil in, because it's a plastic pot, it's sometimes best to give it a bit of a pat down around the sides, just to help fill in any empty spaces that we may have missed. Now I do have some moss that we can decorate the top, but not to worry, I'm not going to be showing the whole process of this. The next bit will be the finished product of the moss anyway. And here we are towards the end of the video, and if I dare say myself, the tree is looking a lot better in a bonsai training pot. I can't wait to update further on this tree and with its further development throughout the year. But if you like this video, please comment, like and subscribe. If not, no worries, and I'll catch you in the next one.